Democrats put on blast for downplaying illegal immigration. So did you notice how Democrats? Sorry, how Democrats never say illegal immigrants. How they just call them immigrants, which is so freaking dishonest. Like no one's talking about the guys who are there on work visa. I mean, they're in the U.S., right? Who are there on work visa or got the citizenship or whatever, right? We're talking about undocumented aliens, illegal immigrants. They literally broke the law by overstaying their welcome. They're not documented anymore. They're not allowed to be in the country. And you're trying to put them on the same level like people who have paperwork all in check, pay the taxes, pretty much do everything, really. So dishonest. Okay, let's go.
So Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett calling out Republicans during a hearing about sanctuary cities, claiming they're being selective on their issues. Listen.
They love to cherry pick, but they don't want to talk about white supremacy. I don't know how many hearings.
Oh, they like to cherry pick, yeah, because they're not taking all the immigrants, but just the illegal immigrants. And that's the issue, right? What I was talking about, the Democrats never call it what it is. They just put them into the same basket, same bag, whatever, illegal, not illegal. Democrats don't care about it. And they're doing such a disservice to the actual legal immigrants, right? Because right now, they're actually pushing public or turning public against all of the immigrants. Because, Republicans are pretty clear with their rhetorics. We're going only after illegal aliens, illegal immigrants. If you want undocumented immigrants, even though undocumented is already kind of on the Democratic side, because the reason why they're using undocumented is because it sounds better than illegal, right? So they're trying to make it sound a little bit more positive, but it's still someone who broke the law, stayed in a country where they're not supposed to stay. So yeah, if we're talking about cherry picking, yes, it's not the way Democrats present it. It's not all immigrants, so I guess you can say that they're cherry picking and picking just illegals, but that's my guess. Let's continue.
We gonna have about the fact that there's been this one immigrant that killed this one person, and no, I'm not excusing any killings by them or white supremacists, but they haven't had these hearings.
Here to react is Patty Morin, the mother of Rachel.
What are we talking about white supremacists? I got it now.
Morin, who was killed by an illegal immigrant in 2023. You know, Patty, every time I hear these passionate speeches, whenever I see them blocking ICE and beating up on ICE when they're trying to get criminal migrants off street, I think of you.
Like, what are we talking about blocking the ICE? It's literally blocking the cops, blocking the federal agents. Like, everyone who tries to block them should go to prison. And that freaking mayor and governor of California, like, if you're telling people to block the ICE and not to let them take your neighbors and whatever, you should go to prison as well. You shouldn't be in the office anymore. Like, what are we talking about? Isn't it obstruction to justice? And in this case, you're literally kind of trying to inspire people to obstruct justice, and your city official or government official, what are we talking about? How are they still in the office? That's my question. I don't understand why President Trump still puts up with it. I mean, I guess they have 2 strikes right now, right? The first one was how they dealt with the fires, that they didn't have freaking water in fire hydrants, but that's a different story, right?
And where was the passion for you?
Yeah, they have an agenda, and it seems to the American people that agenda is being funded by the cartel, Iran, liberal elitist. I mean, who else would fund such a crazy thing where they would say You know, the American citizen is not as important as an illegal immigrant.
Yeah, that's
A
ridiculous,
criminal
man.
illegal immigrant. It's mind-boggling to me.
Patty, were there any marches, protests when your daughter was murdered in cold blood? Did people fill the streets nationwide?
No, no. You know, I find it really fascinating. One of the things that Crockett
Sorry to interrupt again, but when that happened, it was during Biden's era, right? If you would have a protest for that, you would be again called racist and probably homophobic, transphobic. Because again, Democrats like to use at least three offensive words like this. Well, not offensive. I guess it is offensive, but it's supposed to be negative characterization, I would say, right? But one thing, what I would like to add, what's going on in California, or what was going on in California, it's not peaceful protest. It was freaking riot. They were looting shit, putting the Teslas, well, and other cars on fire. Like, what are we talking about? Comparing it with peaceful protests.
said was that President Trump is spending millions of dollars to protect American citizens, to send in ICE and the National Guard to protect American citizens.
Yeah.
But she forgot to say that these riots are being funded, they're well organized. And she forgot to say that these sanctuary cities and states are spending billions of dollars
Yeah.
to freely give things to illegal immigrants that the American citizen does not receive. And then to have all these protests for illegal immigrants, they're not even American citizens, while
It's
completely
crazy.
ignoring or
Not even citizens, like they're not even residents. That's the issue, right? And I heard that all of these protests were actually planned before the Trump even got into the office, because like she correctly said, someone needs to fund it. And even if you're, let's say, naive enough that you think there's no one behind it, I don't know if Iran or no, who knows, right? But even if you think it's literally just Democrats fighting against ICE and Trump, really? You think that's okay, what they're doing just to get rid of President Trump? That's still crazy. Like, they're doing something illegal, burning down the cars, looting, riots, obstruction of justice, all of this just to get rid of President Trump? And you would vote for Dems after that? It's just crazy to me.
at minimal, just acknowledging sometimes the name, sometimes not, the American citizens that are dying, the children that are being raped, the people that are being burnt alive, the people that are being cut up with machetes or murdered and strangled. They're not acknowledging them at all.
Patty, I know the president has acknowledged your family. He's also acknowledged the issue at the border, and you can see it with the numbers. We can put it up on the screen right there. Back in 2019,
Let's see.
over 100,000 people.
Trump versus Biden border crossing. So 2025. Whew. I mean, 2025 is not a month of April. Okay, whoa, that's brutal. Well, I mean, to be honest, Sleepy Joe probably even forgot that we have border, right? Wait, it was Kamala Harris, right? Or Harris who was in charge of it. Well, look at that.
For the month of April, we're crossing this border. That same month, in 2015, only
It's
12,000
crazy.
people. And these people aren't being catched and released as well. And these are the people that we know about. Patty, to the Democrats that are out there, what would you, if you were sitting in front of them, what would you tell them as they protest in the middle of the street for the illegal criminals in this country?
I would say go live in the other country, because obviously you have no concern or
No loyalty towards America.
you have no you don't care about this country. The American people see that the Democrat Party and the liberals have no concern for the American people, for
Yeah.
the everyday American citizen. They only have concern for their agenda, and that agenda is nothing more than to weaken and dismantle our country because they're funded by our enemies. And the American people see that. Trump has got, I think, last poll I saw was 77%
Yep.
of the American people
Yep.
approve of what President Trump is doing. And they are not shocked, but so, I can't even find a word to describe how they feel about the Democrat Party. It's like, it's absurd.
It's wrong. They couldn't even remember your daughter's name, Rachel, but we will remember her every single day. Patty, thank you so much for joining the program this morning.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate being
Yes,
able
ma'am.
to speak.
We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kill.
Okay, let's go back to this because I have something to say to this as well.
You're calling out Republicans doing a hearing about sanctuary cities, claiming they're being selective on their issues. Listen.
They love to cherry pick, but they don't want to talk about white supremacy.
Okay, let's talk about the difference between illegal immigrant who's criminal and white supremacist. So in this case, I'm willing to bet that white supremacists that she's talking about are probably American citizens, right? Or at least residents. They're definitely on the watch list. But they probably didn't commit any crime yet, because if they did, trust me, they would be in prison during the Biden's era, for sure. If it's white supremacists, locked up 4 years, even without a trial, probably. Well, then we go with illegal immigrant. They're known as well, right? We saw the news. We heard the stories. It was confirmed that the Biden government knew about the criminals from the other countries that crossed into the US illegally. So therefore illegal immigrants, right? So you leave this person who already committed a crime by crossing the border. You leave them in the US, even though you know they're murderers, rapists, whatever. You know their location, but you don't do anything about it. You don't deport them. You don't deport them to their original country that actually has probably warrant on them, right? So that's the difference. That those illegal immigrants, they already committed a crime. And if they're criminals from other countries, like, what are you waiting for? Why are you giving them another chance in America? And yes, like I said, I'm pretty sure. Look, with all of the reverse racism and hate towards white people and white males, if there was any white supremacist who broke the law, he would be in prison. During Biden's era, for sure. So again, the biggest issue is that you guys have so many illegal immigrants. Some of them are criminals. You know their whereabouts, but somehow you decide to give them another chance, and then they end up raping, murdering, whatever. And you're complaining about President Trump trying to prevent this? Ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on. Sickening dams. Okay, we can do this one. One more about US, and then we're gonna do... That's too long. Let's do this. Okay. Let's go.
California Senator Alex Padilla put in cuffs
California.
after interrupting DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference.
You know, it's just so ridiculous. So I live in Canada, right? The situation here is horrible. It's literally. But now watching what's going on in California, it's kind of like, well, at least I'm not living in California. You guys over there, like that's so crazy. So crazy. Our liberals are bad. But the Democrats in California, and you voted them in? Really? Damn. It's crazy.
Conference on the Los Angeles riots.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
Okay, what happened there?
Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins us now. Joe, good morning to you. A lot of reaction coming in over that scene. And House Speaker Mike Johnson is blaming the senator for what you just saw on your screen, saying that because he interrupted the press conference, at a minimum, he should be censured. But Axios has a piece titled Padilla Episode Triggers 5-Alarm Fire for Democrats. Here's a little bit about what they are referring to in that headline. Watch this.
Okay. I just saw something that sickened my stomach. The manhandling of a United States senator. We need immediate answers to what the hell went on.
If you could make Alex Padilla forcibly kneel before this executive, when does it stop?
Let's have an independent investigation. Senator Padilla was trying to do his job.
So what is your reaction to this episode, Joe, and those comments from Democratic leaders?
This is, Carly, basically a complete and total perfect microcosm of what we have seen from the Democratic Party over the last 4 months since Donald Trump took office. Performance art. That is performance art. You cannot storm in like a maniac, like the senator did, into a press conference that the DHS secretary was holding, Kristi Noem, and expect to be above the law. He wanted this. This is exactly what Democrats want. They want the narrative that, oh, wow, look, now Donald Trump's administration is.
I mean, look, my question is, why didn't he leave straight away after they told him to? It's not like he didn't just walk away. He was trying to stay there. He was trying to push them to get in there. I don't know.
Is doing this to sitting senators. No, I'm sorry. We have heard that nobody is above the law, but Mr. Padilla thought he was. And Ted Cruz, let's put it this way. If he did this during the Biden administration, if we're going to just pick any Republican senator, did this to Alejandro Mayorkas, the media would be cheering it on if he was removed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's so much false outrage, and it's a whole bowl of wrong. And I'm sorry, Democrats want to create this narrative like they're resisting, they're fighting back, when in fact, what was he objecting to there exactly? That gangbangers and murderers, rapists, child molesters are being removed from the country from ICE, and they should be because they're here illegally. Democrats are not doing a good job here, and I'm sorry, this is going to backfire like so many performance artists have.
It's just ridiculous. How can you vote for Democrats after all of this? Like, instead of trying to work with Donald Trump and make sure that they will kind of have to say what's going on in the US and protecting their own interests, like they're doing whatever they can to put Donald Trump in wrong spot, right? Trying to attack him and whatever. Like, you lost the elections, get over it. Just try to do whatever you can to make US better. But no, like, people literally voted Donald Trump knowing he's gonna use ICE and get rid of illegal immigrants. That he was honest about it. He never said he's not gonna do it. He literally built his campaign on it. Let's get rid of the people who are in US illegally. We're gonna start with the criminals, but we're gonna go with everyone else because, you entered or you overstayed your welcome. You don't have correct paperwork. You're illegally in the US. Done. Whatever. Like, again, Democrats lost. Just get over it. Try to work it out. Try to make US better. Like I mentioned, I live in Canada, right? Unfortunately, Liberals won the last elections. Do you think what conservatives do is just try to stage something against Mark Carney? No, they're trying to work on this government because it's still for the Canadian people, right? Like, you have responsibility towards the people. Same way like Democrats have responsibility towards Americans in the US. But it hella doesn't look like they have any loyalty towards them. It's crazy.
Like Cory Booker, like so many have in the past, this is not the way to go about objecting to something if you are against something.
And there's so many receipts online from Democrat lawmakers basically articulating the left's position that when you are a senator, apparently you are above the law.
Yeah, look, he was still trying to push in there. Like, you can't be outraged that eventually he got pushed out of the room and even arrested. Like, look, they told him once, he's still trying to push in. Done. And again, I know he's some senator or whatever, but he wasn't invited for this. You never know if the person has weapons or anything like that. That's why you have security there, right? And if they tell you leave, you should leave.
And that you do have a special right to disrupt a proceeding. I think Republican staffers throughout the country need to mark those, copy them, save them, and utilize them right against the Democrats when they pull them out in a situation going forward. But I want to focus on a little bit more of the specifics of this case, because the FBI says Padilla was not wearing a security pin and that he physically resisted law enforcement when confronted. That's not coming from me, it's coming from the FBI. What else, Joe, was law enforcement supposed to do, especially for someone like Alex Padilla that isn't necessarily a household name and isn't necessarily as recognizable as, say, Spartacus that we just saw in that tape, Cory Booker, or Elizabeth Warren or Chuck Schumer?
Great point, Todd. I mean, 99.9% of Americans would not know who this person is who just tried to disrupt a press conference from the DHS secretary. So, yeah, what are...
And to be fair, like, the first thing he said, I almost thought he's under the influence of something. Then it was clear that he's not. Don't get me wrong, no. But like the first thing he said kind of slurred out, like, I don't know. They ask you to leave, you leave. Like, they were just doing their job. And if you don't have your security clearance on you, people don't know you, you just show up uninvited, don't want to leave, what are we talking about?
Are they supposed to do in that situation? I'm sorry. This is something that Democrats, again, they want this played over and over again on MSNBC and CNN to try to create this dictator narrative with Donald Trump in terms of the way he's running things. But we cannot have this sort of thing happen, especially when you saw what happened with Steve Scalise, for example, and so many other Republicans at that baseball practice in Virginia years ago where several were shot. We saw Donald Trump, 2 assassination attempts against him that likely would have been successful if not for various incredible circumstances preventing that from happening. We can't have people jumping into these situations and not have a reaction. So, yeah, I'm with you here, Todd. What were they supposed to do here, considering he didn't have a badge on him and we don't know who this person is?
Yeah. Well, Kristi Noem got into a conference room after all this happened, sat down with Senator Padilla. They exchanged phone numbers and said that they would be in direct communication with one another. So things are good between the two of them as people on the outskirts continue to react to it. Joe, thank you so much for joining us.
But no, I bet the Democrats want this video to be replayed all the time. But the funny thing is, if you look at the video and think about it, he was fighting them. He was trying to push through. Like, they told him leave, he didn't. So what are we talking about, Really?